Let's trade it. Scott Bauer is the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. Scott, good to see you down at the SIBO this morning.
Oliver, good morning.
So you're going to ride this thing in the same direction as the rest of the chips, or is it a laggard for a reason, Scott?
You know, from a trade, I think it's an opportunity actually to take a look at this, look at the run that it's made, and for a few technical reasons, and Mike pointed out a few of them, look at something that may not happen. That not happening to me is that we may not get a big reaction on earnings here. Now, obviously, you know, we can get a big move. NVDA has done that before, but the market maker expected move is only about $13. Mike alluded to that. It's actually very small for NVIDIA. However, when I look at not only the fundamentals, but the technicals as well, Oliver, this thing is up 50% year to date. Yep. If you look at something that traders and technicians look at called the 50% retracement level, you and I have talked about that before. If you look at the high that we saw last October, okay, which was about 290-ish or so, 296 I think, to the low in December, only 3 months later, of 126. If you take half of that, we're right there. 210, 209, we're right there. That should be a level where there is some pretty decent resistance, okay? Now, I'm not saying that's a reason to sell NVIDIA. In fact, I like NVIDIA a lot. However, I believe on this trade, it's a trade that you want to maybe look at for a range-bound trade. And that's why I'm setting up a trade to sell what's called an iron condor, where I'm selling both a downside put spread, I'm selling an upside call spread. So with NVIDIA right here, Oliver, I'm selling this week's, expires tomorrow, end of day, the 195, 190 put spread, and on the upside, I'm selling the 217.5, 222.5 call spread. I can collect about $2.50 for that. So that gives me one-to-one reward to risk. And you know, I'm always about risk. I'm always about being risk defined. This is a $5 wide spread on both sides, both the put and the call side. That's the most it can ever be worth. Someone is going to pay me half of that. $2.50 going into this print. If NVIDIA stays within about that $13 expected move, it's going to be a great trade.
I gotta say, I kind of like this, Scott, because it's one of the last of the chips to report, so it's been moving with everybody else's earnings, and it looks a lot like everyone else's earnings in the sense that the trailing information here on the year-over-year change is negative. We're expecting negative earnings moves, down 14% from the year before. In terms of revenue, down about 9% from the year before. So even if they do give that guidance outlook that some of the other chips have that's caused them to rally, NVIDIA's already been rallying with it. So the idea that they're still on top of the move already during this earnings season of a lot of similar companies, $13 left in it, the trade makes sense to me.
I like it a lot, and you know, NVIDIA really looks a little rich to me. However, it's very strong. It is still in a very bullish pattern, even though we're up to that resistance level. And that's why, even though I think it's a little rich, I don't think we get a major sell-off here unless, obviously, earnings come out and they absolutely slam guidance. Like you said, already expecting lower revenues from last year. It's all going to hinge on the guidance.
I'm with you there. To me, the risk is to the downside, because if it turns out their growth in the data center market is also being taken by AMD, we saw what AMD did Intel, but if they're really taking as much of a pie and that starts to creep into NVIDIA as well, that hurts their growth market at a time where the gaming is kind of flatlined for PCs. We know about the Bitcoin stuff is also kind of flatlined for them. So that to me is the risk, is that they have a miss on data centers guidance and the thing gets slammed. But we'll watch. Scott Bauer, really nice analysis here. Love the chart, love the trade. Mr. Bauer is the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy, and an easy transition for us, because up next, let's talk some crypto.